All right, well, here we are again. So, it actually took a little bit less time to rise, probably just due to the fact that it's warmed up in the house now. Even though I am still wearing a jumper, it actually did warm up. So, the dough's actually come up. So, I don't know if you guys remember, but I actually put in a little mark on the inside of here to say where it started. And if we go back on some of the videos, you'll see that some of these leftover scrapings are actually now underneath. So, it has probably come up about that 50% that I said. To give you another indication, you remember that the bread that we put in here, or the leftover starter that we placed in here, as you can see now, it's actually almost filling that whole bottom section, and it's actually come up to about it, so it's rising and spreading. So again, you can see we've got the growth happening in there. So now what we're actually going to do, and actually I might just lift you guys up a little bit just to make it a little bit easier to see what I'm about to do next. So and give you kind of a bird's eye view. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to shape the bread. So we've had our bulk rise, it's come up, now we need to shape it and get it ready to proof again if you want to, or you can bake it. So what I've brought is these bread form baskets. So they're just a cane basket, as you can see here, and they've got a lining on the inside of fabric. Now what I do, I don't put flour in here, normal flour in here, I put corn flour. Corn flour tends to help it not stick better than normal flour, the normal bread flour, and I put some in here because we've currently got the bucket there. But the normal bread flour absorbs quite a lot of the moisture and gets a bit tacky and sticky in there, and then I found it was growing mold. So what I started using is corn flour, and I've never had this issue. And I don't wash these until after probably a couple of months, or if I get them stained because I did a fruit loaf or something like that. So what we're going to do, and you can see you've got two of them there, and also the good old shower cap. Funny as it might be, after we shape them and put them in here, what we'll do is I put a shower cap over them and they go in the fridge. And that just stops the fridge from drying them out and kind of creates a nice little moist environment, but also a cool environment so it can ferment slowly through the night. Okay, so what I normally do here, you can get gloves again if you want, I'm not going to it this time. So just use a bit of flour and just go around the edges, go around the edge of the bowl, okay? All I'm doing there is just creating a bit of a flour ring in the bowl. Then I'll add a little bit in the center, it's not really a necessity. Then using that scraper from before, I just run around the outside of the bowl, just scraping down. And all we're doing is we're just tucking that flour pretty much under that edge, okay? Then what I'll do is I'll just find a spot on the bench, and I'll just make sure it's there. Find a spot on the bench, scrape it out as you're going. Simple as that. The dough's on the bench. All right, that's all we need that for. That gets washed later. So we have our dough. Now remember, we did 1 kilo of dough here, so it's 2 loaves. So what I'll do is I'll just get a bit of flour and I'll make a line down the center, okay? Just so that when I'm spreading it with this scraper, it doesn't stick. If this was 1.5 kilos of dough, I'd normally do a line here and then a line there and pull that line not quite half. I just found that was the easiest way of doing it. So all we do, we separate the 2 pieces. So you can see here, I have 2 separate pieces of sourdough. Now, there are so many different techniques you can use here for shaping it. This is mine. Really, really simple. I'll put the basket right there. Put the basket just there. Makes it easy for me just to throw it in. So, simple technique I use is grab that corner, fold it in, fold. So you're working your way around that piece. Now this bit's stuck on the bench a little bit, that's all right. Fold it in, and then fold the whole lot over. Okay, so all those folds are now in the center. And then, using a bit of a scrape and flip motion, so you're pushing away, pulling towards you and rolling it back, and using this hand here to kind of tuck it in. So I'm just going to go, so as if you're looking over my shoulder. So you've got my left hand, right hand, it's push out and tuck back. Push out, tuck back, and the hand's tucking under. And you can see I'm stretching and shaping that dough, okay? And it's a nice ball. I'll go again over here. So again, corners in, edges, so one corner, one edge. Again, use a scraper. The scraper is your best friend with high hydration doughs. And again, it's that push out, roll around, pull back. Okay. So my art is like coming like an arch. So you can see I'm pushing out, spinning around, pulling back. Okay? And you can see the two doughs are well tensioned at the moment. They're nice and smooth. There's little micro bubbles in the surface. So I'll just put a little bit of flour on this. There's a reason for that. So normally I'll do that and I'll do so many loaves and then we'll go back to the first one and then they go in here. Okay? So back to this one again, following that same arcing motion that we had beforehand. All right? We just shape it again. And this takes practice. Don't be too concerned. Took me a long time to get this down pat. But you want to stretch it because as you're pulling it here, it's stretching the dough and folding it under itself. Okay? And that's why you notice there's not a lot of flour on the bench, because if there's too much flour on the bench, it wouldn't actually pull tight. It's not gripping onto the bench at the moment and pulling it tight. Now what we don't want to do is over tension. If you over tension, you'll split this. It's still good, but it just won't produce as nice an exterior. So that's about enough now. So what I'll do, use the scraper again, underneath, pick it up, flip it over into the basket. And you can see there's not really much of a seam there, okay? So that's one. We'll do the second one now. And get that one done. Again, just that tuck and roll, pick it up, flip it into there. So now they're in our baskets. What I normally do is I'll put a bit of flour in one of these and I'll just flour the bottom. Now, why do I do this? This will be the bottom of the bread once it goes in the oven. Okay, because what we will do when we get to the oven is we'll take this, get a piece of baking paper over the top, flip it over, goes into the oven. So that's your base. So the flour here does two things. It will help it when it goes in the oven not stick, and also as it rises, if by any chance you've got your rising wrong, it won't stick to the plastic of the shower cap, because of course the plastic of the shower cap, if it sticks to it and you take the shower cap off, you have the risk of deflating it and losing all that air. Okay, so they've been like that. So now we'll just cover them with the shower cap like that. Normally I try and pull the shower caps up so they're not resting low. Okay, so those are ready. And what we'll do is we'll end up taking these, putting them in the fridge. Now it is, like I said, it's about 5 o'clock now. What we'll do is they will stay in the fridge till about 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Okay, then we will take them straight out of the fridge and do the baking section, which is part of the next series of videos. Okay, so the next video covers baking. Now you have two choices. You can leave these in the basket like this for about another hour to kind of rest again, because you've shaped the gluten. It's all about that resting. Rest it. You'll do a bit more rising, and then you can bake it then. So if I wanted to, and I might do one of these, I'll bake one of these tonight, just so that I don't have so many to bake in the morning. It will take, so in about 5:30, 6 o'clock, maybe even 7, I might give it a bit longer, we will bake one of these breads in our oven, and then it will cool it down accordingly. Otherwise, one other one will go in the fridge tomorrow, go in the fridge for tomorrow, and will be baked tomorrow morning and taken to Brisbane, to my parents' place where we're heading down. So, yeah. Anyway, so that's how you shape them and get them into the baskets. Those cane baskets, you can buy them on eBay. You can buy them on AliExpress. They're everywhere. These ones, I think, if I remember correctly, are 22 to 25 centimeters by 8 centimeters high. So they're not super big ones, and they fit this 500 gram perfectly. Any bigger than this in your basket or any smaller, you adjust your flours accordingly. But yeah, so that's how we've gotten to this point. Now from here, we've got to get it, we'll bake it, and that'll be in the next video. So I'll be doing that one tonight, and we'll bake one of these breads and show you what it looks like when it's all baked up.